Good morning. This is March 29 and we are in BBIS second semester class. It's Wednesday today. In the previous classes we were discussing Plato's dialogue, the Allegory of the Cave. And yesterday we had a quick reading of a number of slides and where we discussed a lot of topics. I want someone to come here with a note copy and quickly tell what things we talked yesterday. Anyone? Come with a copy and read to class what we did yesterday. Roll number 7. Who is 7? Okay, 17. 7 is 17. मेधावी राजभण्डारी अनि कसले यसो भनेको उसको पालोमा अहिले कसैले यसो भनेको रहेछ नि त हो ओके रोल नम्बर उज्जवल महर्जन lottery is lottery. There is no discrimination here. Go on. Yes, yes.
Actually, we did the dialectic method. The dialectic method is a way of reasoning and learning that involves the dialogue and the debate between the...
Wait. This is the first thing we did.
We did the dialectic method.
Okay, dialectic method. What else?
And we did the Plato's philosophical idealism.
Okay, idealism. What else? Next we read what?
The context of Plato's Allegory of the Cave.
Okay, context. The dialogue is taken from his book Republic.
What does nature mean in the above dialogue?
Okay, meaning of nature in the dialogue. Okay,
Yes.
that's all.
Yes.
Thank you. Was it all we read? Did you not read? Reproduction. Okay, nature. Okay. So I'll pick up from that slide where you say we left last time. Okay, so the word nature is very crucial in philosophy. This word nature comes again and again in Plato. And the word nature has many meanings in different places. What does nature mean here? The essence or reality of things. For example, the nature of this thing is to be hard. It's hard, right? Whereas the nature of this glass is brittle. If I drop, it will break. The nature, do you have rubber? Elasticity, something elastic? The nature of rubber is elasticity, right? The essential quality of something is nature, right? And now what Plato argues that you can know outer appearance by senses, but you cannot know inner essence or nature by senses. To know the essence of something, you must use reasoning, not senses. The essence or internal quality of something cannot be seen by the eyes directly. You must use reason to know the essence. You cannot know nature of anything by senses. You cannot understand the nature of anything by senses. Essence tha hunदैन के. You have to use reason, logic, intellect. Okay. Then what he says? Now, second meaning, nature is also the source of order and harmony in the world. Look, nature. In nature, now the exact Nepali word is Prakriti for this here now. In nature, everything has a design. Look, the color of the animals in the jungle, probably green. The color of the animals in the desert, brown, like the sand. The color of the animals in the water, pale, like the water. Not only that, you will see fish have fin because they have to breathe in the water. Birds have wings because they have to fly. We have hair in the nostrils to filter the air. Everything in nature has a design and purpose. That's another meaning of nature, right? Then we read. And this nature is also governed by rational principles of forms. There is a logic in the natural design. There is why is the tiger? Why does the tiger have spots? Because it needs to use camouflage to hunt. The tiger looks like grass in the jungle. And when the tiger is stalking, the prey cannot see it clearly. Look, there is a, I told you last time, to read an essay, What is There in the Zoo? By Marianne Moore, I guess. Marrianne, Marianne Moore, I guess. A wonderful essay where the writer discusses various animals and the design. And she discusses how nature is full of design. To understand this point, this is very useful. Marianne Moore, in her essay, she discusses animals, birds, and she teaches how they teach us design to science. And she tells how science has learned from animals to develop technology. Okay. Then, last, he wants to illustrate how much we are able to grasp. Yes, this point. The issue in this dialogue is, the question in this dialogue is, how much we can know and what we cannot know. This is the issue in this dialogue. What human nature can know and what is beyond human nature. What is within the knowledge of human nature and what is beyond our knowledge. Right? Okay. This was what we discussed last time. Then next, the central idea of this dialogue with the first one, in your course, the first dialogue. Okay, what is the central idea? Most people are like prisoners in a cave. What does it mean? That means most people are ignorant about reality. People are ignorant about reality. Just as you saw last time, the prisoners were looking on the shadow and they think that the shadows are real. And these prisoners who are looking towards the shadow, they are not aware that behind them there is a real object moving. They don't know they do not know the reality about the object behind them. They see only the shadows and they think that these shadows are real. Whereas we know that these shadows are false. The objects are. Now, when the prisoner's neck is chained to the knees and they cannot turn, so this turning is meaning is ignorance. As I turn, now I see reality. This turning is when I'm turning this side, I'm ignorant. Now I'm enlightened because I see the truth. This is about education. Turning this side means not having proper education. Turning this side means having proper education. Right? Even the movement is allegorical, it is a meaning. Right? Not having education. Having education. Okay. Now, see, this side is the world of appearance and this side is the world of intelligible forms. Forms versus appearances. If something appears it may not be true. It may not be true. Oh, यो मान्छे त खतरनाक देखिन्छ भने might be, might not be. Appearance, right? Appearance. Okay. Now, what are some of the themes in this whole dialogue then? The first important theme is about nature and limits of human perception. What we can see with the senses and what we cannot see with our sense. That's one theme, right? Second, difference between appearance and reality. This is appearance, that is reality, right? You can know appearance by senses, but you can know reality only by reasoning. You can know reality only by reasoning. You cannot know reality by senses. The next thing is importance of philosophical reasoning. See, philosophy uses reasoning, and Plato argues that you can know reality only through philosophy because it uses reasoning, right? The next thing is challenge of education and enlightenment. Now look, what the question is, how should we educate people? Plato says we should educate people philosophy. Why should we educate people on philosophy? Plato says only philosophy can tell the reality. So what is proper education? Proper education is the education of philosophy and mathematics, because both philosophy and mathematics are based on logic and reasoning, and it is only through logic and reasoning that we can know reality. Then individual and society. Look, Plato argued that society is more important than the person, than the individual. And he said that the individual should work for the society. That is why he said that to create an ideal society, we must properly educate every individual. In Plato's society, you are not free to choose what you want to do. No. The state has a plan for you, and you have to follow the plan of the state, because the state wants to prepare you for itself. So, in a sense, Plato is not democratic. You can say Plato is autocratic. He has dictatorial ideas. He's like a dictator. The state should control individuals. That's why he says, no, Sabda, you cannot study sociology. You must study philosophy. Look, he's ruling. He's governing what people should study and what they should not. Right? Okay. So this issue of individual versus society. Then, responsibility of the philosopher. Look, in the Allegory you saw how one of them went out, saw the sun, moon, star, everything, began to realize that that's reality, this is falseness. Then did you see? He came back. He came back. And he began to tell other people, hey friends, what you saw is not real. I went out, I saw the truth, so I'm back to tell you over there, come with me, follow. And these guys, when they heard him saying this, they laughed at him. And they said that, look, he went out and his eyes are blind now. He cannot see. But this person should not be discouraged by this criticism, because he is a teacher. Teachers are leaders. Teachers are leaders. Why are teachers leaders? Because teachers are educated. They're enlightened. They're better understanding of the things. So their job is to educate other people. So this is the responsibility of the philosophers. Philosophers should sacrifice their life to guide our society. राम्रो कुरा छ नि. राम्रो मान्छेले त अरूलाई गाइड गर्नु पर्यो नि त. अनि पो अरू मान्छे राम्रो हुन्छ. राम्रो मान्छेले मलाई के मतलब भनेर आफ्नो त हेर्यो भने राम्रो भएन नि. Right? These are some of the themes. Okay. Now I'll quickly move. I won't discuss this because from paragraph 1 to paragraph 35, 1 to 35, it is all about the allegory, which I dramatized last time when you saw. Class performance. So I won't explain that. I will pick up some points, right? I won't explain. If I skip a slide, it's not important. You can just read and skip it. Now, somewhere I'll stop and explain to you. Here I'll explain. After this slide, I guess. Okay, let's read it. And now look again and see what will naturally follow if the prisoners are released and disabused of their error. At first, when any of them is liberated and compelled suddenly to stand up and turn his neck round and walk and look towards the light, he will suffer sharp pains. The glare will distress him. Okay, let's move ahead. Again, the same thing. When you go into light from darkness, you have problem. Or when you come from darkness into light, you have problem. Means when you are taught philosophy, at first you are uncomfortable to learn things because you can't adjust, you can't believe it easily. Any change is not easy. Change is not easy. Okay. Now here in the previous slide, there is one word, being. This word is very crucial to understand. Earlier we talked about the word nature, right? Now we're talking about the word being. Let me tell you. Plato uses two words and he compares. Look, let's draw this line as we are here. This is the word of the being and this is the word of becoming. The word of the becoming means the world of senses. Becoming refers to the world of senses, material reality, physical reality. The word of being refers to ideal reality, ideal world, divine world, divine world. What is being? Let's read this slide, next slide. Okay. So in Plato's philosophy, being refers to the true essence or reality of things. So what is being? True essence. Being means true essence or reality of things, not the appearance. So if you say, look at Dibakar Sahib, what you see with your eyes, that's becoming, that's appearance. But there is something inside me which makes me alive and I talk to you. If I die right now, my body will collapse on the ground. He will come running, pick me up and check what happened to me. So when I die, something leaves my body. But nobody can see what is leaving it. So you can say, the being leaves the body. In a sense, now it became soul. It became soul. Because people will agree that it is the soul that leaves the body when we die. It is prana that lives when we die. So the prana is the being. And this flesh-born body, this is becoming. 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 Because you can see with the senses. But can you see my soul? No, that's being. And Plato would argue that what you can see is false. What you can see is false. But the essence that you cannot see, that is true. So being and becoming. Now, the being is unchangeable, eternal, universal. It never changes. The becoming is local, particular and keeps changing. यही क्लास में becoming क्यों? सबैको फेस अलग-अलग छ नि. सबैको बडी स्ट्रक्चर अलग छ नि. त्यो becoming हो. Being के हो? All are human beings. त्यही भएर human being भन्छ के. ह्युमनलाई being किन भनेको? सबैले हुन्छ नि. अफ्रिकाको पनि यही टाउको हुन्छ नि. अस्ट्रेलिया पनि यही टाउको हुन्छ नि. के त टाउको हुन्छ? The general is being. The general is being. The particular is becoming. The global universal is being. The local is becoming. Common feature हुन्छ नि. Common feature being भयो के. Local feature के भयो? Okay. Then what we read? The becoming is the realm of change. It changes. I will die. Look, I'm changing. How I'm changing? Look, my hair is getting grey. My mustache is getting grey. I'm getting older, weaker day by day. The body is becoming. The body is changing. Right? Appearance and opinion. Okay. What is becoming? Appearance, opinion. Right? And then in the allegory, being is represented by the sun and the objects outside the cave. The sun is being, B-E-I-N-G. The sky is being. The moon is being. The stars are being. Right? And what is becoming in this story? The fire is becoming. The shadows are becoming. Because they deceive the eyes. They deceive the eyes. Okay. Then he wants to illustrate how much we are able to grasp the true reality of things. Now, we can know becoming by senses. We cannot know being by senses. We can know being only through reasoning. Only through reasoning. Okay. Things are serious, right? Things are quite serious. Okay, let's move ahead. I won't much spend time here. मैले के मात्रै गरे भने स्लाइड त्यसलाई मेल गरेर हुन्छ नि त अनि एउटै स्लाइडमा त्यो सबै राखिएको के पढ्न मन लाग्यो भने टेक्स्ट पनि त्यही छ अनि त्यो मेटेरियल पनि त्यही छ यु क्यान हेभ अ क्विक लुक भएर एउटा हेरेर पुग्छ भएर ओके नाउ अनदर टर्म व्हाट डज अपर वर्ल्ड मीन सी इन द केव people are down in the ground. If you look at geological formation of cave, you get into the cave, you have to climb down. There is space down. And do you see one of the prisoners, he climbs up to the door of the cave. Do you realize? He climbs up. To go out, he has to climb up. This climbing upward has a metaphorical meaning. Because in our culture, have you seen? Up is always good. People say, Mati Mati Pugnu. Have you heard people saying? Nobody says the same, Tala Tala Janu. Do they say? No. They say, Mati Mati Pugnu. The Mati, up is always in positive and down is in negative. So this guy also walks up, right? And what does it mean? The upper world is the realm outside the cave. The sun, the moon, the stars, the sky, where the sun shines, and true forms of the things exist. It is because of the sun that we see the true things. Just imagine, this morning the sun didn't rise. Would you come to college? You would be sleeping. Bihana bhaeko छैन. Mommy comes, "Hey, छोरी college जानु पर्यो." He said, "हेर mommy, sunrise भएको छैन. सुत्न दिनु न. It's 9 o'clock. 10 o'clock. If the sun does not rise, morning doesn't happen, and don't see the things. So how do we know? We know the truth about things because of the sun's light. Okay. Then the sun represents the intelligible world or the world of essential forms in which things exist in the perfect, unalterable form. Look, if I draw a line here, this is a perfect. Nobody can draw a perfect line, perfect circle. Perfect circle can never be seen by senses. It can be grasped only by your imagination or your reasoning, right? Perfection is always impossible to be seen by senses, right? Okay. So upper world. Next, what do shadows represent? Then I'll be back there. This dialogue is an allegory. This dialogue is an allegory. An allegory teaches moral lesson. It teaches a moral lesson. How? Because it symbolizes something. What does it do? It symbolizes. How does it symbolize? By making analogy. By making analogy. What is analogy? In analogy, you have set of objects, right? Set of objects. And these set of objects they refer to concepts. They refer to concepts. For example, the object came in the allegory refers to physical world. Refers to physical world. The object, prisoners in the allegory, refers to people in the world. People in the world. The object, chain, refers to ignorance. Refers to ignorance. Shadow refers to opinion. In the same way, climbing up refers to education. It refers to education. In the same way, shadows, what do they refer? Shadows refer to false vision of reality. Shadows refer to false vision of reality, of falsity. Right? Illusion created by the objects. Right? Look, this is illusion created by this hand. So in comparison to the shadow, the hand is truer. Although the hand is also not perfectly true. Right? But in comparison to shadow, the hand is comparatively truer. Okay. Then symbolize, okay, that's all. So shadows symbolize ignorance and deception. Ignorance. In the exam, you can be given a short answer question. Discuss briefly what do the shadows stand for in the allegory. Okay. What do the reflections represent now? At one point he says the person goes out and then he sees water. He sees water. And he sees his own reflection in the water. Reflections are slightly higher than shadows. Reflections are slightly higher than shadows. Okay. So they symbolize higher level of perception than the shadows, right? But not true reality. They are closer to the true forms than the shadows, but they are still distorted and imperfect. For example, if you dip this in water, you see the reflection is crooked, whereas the pencil is not crooked, right? Okay. Then what are the objects? Let me write here. Reflection. Reflection. What does it symbolize? Higher form of reality, but not perfect. But not perfect. Okay, what do the objects themselves represent? Now, objects represent the true forms of things. Particularly, objects outside, they represent true form of things. So, let me write here, objects, concept, true forms of things, right? Okay. Now, the ideal and perfect essences that exist in the intelligible realm beyond the physical world, they are the source of the shadows. Look, the objects are the source of shadows and reflections that the prisoners see, but they are not visible to them directly. The objects, look, as I am turning this side, now I see this shadow, but I don't know that there is a hand. So I see the shadow, but I am not aware about the object, right? The objects symbolize ultimate reality. What will it symbolize? Ultimate reality. Okay, what is the moon? Look, we see there is moon, stars, sky, space, right? What does it symbolize? The light of the moon and the stars and the spangled heaven, the sky, stars by the night, they represent a higher level of perception. Higher level of perception. Keep looking for one, eh? Look here. At the bottom you have shadows. At the bottom you have shadows. At the top you have the sun. You have the sun. And there is a gradation. There is a hierarchy. Okay? Shadows, objects, fire, trees outside, pool, swimming pool outside, sky, star, space, finally, sun. This is a hierarchy. It represents the level of intelligence, level of knowledge. The higher you go, the better you know the reality. Okay. So, they are still dependent on the sun and not self-sufficient. They symbolize the knowledge and understanding that people can attain through mathematics and astronomy. Math and astronomy. Okay, what does the sun or the light of the sun represent? The form of the good. The sun stands for, okay, right here, sun. What does it stand for? Good. And keep in mind, two ideas are very central to Plato. The idea of goodness and the idea of justice. What did I say? Goodness and justice. Because a perfect society can be created if we have these two qualities. A perfect society has goodness and it has justice. Nothing is bad there. And there is no anyaya. If someone does wrong, they are rightly punished, right? So the sun stands for good. The ultimate principle, look the word. There is a word, ultimate principle. Like ultimate principle, ultimate cause. This refers to Brahma. Brahma refers to the divine. So ultimate principle means the God. Ultimate principle means the God. So the sun stands for the God. Just as everything is visible because of sun, everything is visible because of the sun, everything is created because of the God. Right? Okay. Now can you see, it is only when the prisoners in the cave are exposed to the sunlight that they are able to understand reality. Right? It symbolizes the power of knowledge. So what does the sun stand for? Power of knowledge and importance of seeking. Okay. How is the sun guardian and the cause of all things? The sun represents the form of the good, which is ultimate principle, ultimate reality, ultimate goodness, form of the good. Satyam, Shivam, Sundaram. Satyam, truth. Sundaram, goodness. Shivam, I don't know, maybe Shivam is beautiful, I don't know. But one of them is goodness, right? Satyam, Shivam, Sundaram. So, the sun symbolizes guardianship, above all. Guardian, right? The world's, okay. What does the wisdom of the den mean? This office missing. Wisdom of the den. Wisdom of the den means ignorance. You know, the people in the den had no wisdom, but they thought they are wise. When the man went out and came back and told them that we are wrong, let's walk outside, look at the reality, they said, count the shadows. And this man who had just come in from the light, he failed to come because there was a problem with the light. He was in light, he came to darkness. And when he failed to count correctly, they said, we must kill him because he will spoil the society. So these people in the cave, they are in ignorance, but they think that ignorance is reality. They think that ignorance is reality. So wisdom of the den means falsity understood as truth. Let's see quickly. The false and superficial knowledge that the prisoners in the cave have based on their perception of the shadows on the wall. If you apply this today, wisdom of the dead means knowledge from social media. Knowledge from, which is quite false. But people think it is true. Right? Okay. So these prisoners are ignorant about the true forms, right? But they think that they know. So wisdom of the dead symbolizes what? Illusion and deception. Okay, we'll move ahead. Better to be, there is a quotation, there is a line. We need to understand the meaning of this line. Better to be the poor servant of a poor master. According to Allegory, this statement expresses the preference of the freed prisoner who has seen the sun going outside and the real world outside the cave over the ignorance and illusion of those who remain inside the cave. He says that rather than living with these ignorant people in the cave, I will go out and rather live alone. Better to be the poor servant of a poor master than being the bad master of the bad people, in a sense, right? Better to live alone in heaven than living with people in the hell, right? Then what does it mean? And believe that the shadows are reality. The statement implies that living in truth and knowledge, even if it means suffering. When you go with the truth, you suffer. When you follow truth, you suffer. Hardship and poverty is better than living in falsehood and opinion. If you should live with truth, even if causes suffering and hardship. Never live with falsity, even if you get a lot of benefits there, right? Okay. You may have this statement in the exam, and they might ask you to explain that, the meaning. Okay. What does the contest among the prisoners represent? Actually, the prisoners have a competition. What is the competition? They look on the wall where this is the shadows moving. The competition is who can correctly name the shadows and who can correctly predict what shadow will come next. And when this philosopher comes back in the prison, in the cave, they say, okay, come, participate in this game. And if you can correctly count the shadows and tell what is coming next, we'll believe you. But this philosopher who has come in, he can't tell it correctly. Right? And they decide to punish him. So let's read. The human tendency to value and reward superficial and false knowledge. Have you seen? We often reward, we often believe false knowledge. Mansele media पढ्छ, Facebook पढ्छ अनि पत्याएर हिँड्छ नि. Truth खोज्न त गाह्रो हुन्छ नि, right? We normally believe false knowledge, right? Over the true and deeper knowledge, the prisoners compete with each other to see who can best predict the movement of shadows on the wall, which they believe are reality. They are proud of their skill and mock anyone who fails to guess correctly, and the philosopher fails to guess correctly, and they laugh at him. And they say, we must kill you because you are misleading us. Whereas the philosopher is true and they are false. हामीले फेसबुक हेरेर धेरैपल्ट विश्वास गर्छौँ नि अनि ट्रुथलाई हामी मान्दैनौँ नि इजिली राइट So we are like the prisoners. They are unaware of the true forms of the things that exist outside the cave. And they reject anyone who tries to enlighten them. The contest symbolizes the ignorance and prejudice that prevent people from seeking truth and enlightenment. So this competition stands for ignorance and prejudice. Okay. What does previous argument refer to? In the very beginning, not beginning, somewhere there is a phrase. He says that, he talks about the previous argument. Let's read it. The previous argument refers to the discussion that Socrates and Glaucon had before the allegory starts, where they explored the nature of justice. यो भन्दा अगाडिको डायलगमा चाहिँ यो किताब पढ्यो भने यहाँ त हामीले अघि पढिरहेको छौँ त्यो ओरिजिनल बुकमा गएर यो भन्दा अगाडिको च्याप्टर हेऱ्यो भने के छ? दे टक अबाउट जस्टिस, एजुकेसन एन्ड द आइडियल स्टेट पहिला, देन दे कम टु एलिगरी. In the previous argument, previous argument is argument about justice, education and ideal state. They also introduced the concepts of the visible world and the intelligible world and the analogy of the sun and the divided line. पहले से बताते थे यही line, divided line. Upper level गया बने reasoning, true knowledge, तल आया बने false knowledge, opinion. यो कुरा चाहिँ यो भन्दा अगाडि आउँछ कि यसमा छैन. Okay. The allegory of the cave is meant to illustrate these concepts and show how education can lead one from ignorance to knowledge. What can lead you from ignorance to knowledge? Education. From darkness to light. Tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityor ma mritam gamaya. This is what knowledge does. Tamaso ma jyotirgamaya. Oh Goddess, lead me to light from darkness. Goddess of Saraswati. Mrityor ma mritam gamaya. Lead me to immortality from mortality. So what can bring immortality? Knowledge. धेरै पढ्यो भने मरेपछि सम्झिन्छ नि, सम्झिन्छ. आज प्लेटो बारे हामी किन सल्भ गरिरह? बिकज प्लेटो वाज स्कलर. उसले नपढेको भए यस्तो हामीले उसलाई सम्झिन्थ्यो? सम्झिन्थ्यो? प्लेटोकै टाइममा धेरै मान्छे बाँचे होला नि. डु वी नो देम? नो. वी नो ओन्ली प्लेटो. वाइ? बिकज प्लेटो ह्याड नलेज एन्ड नलेज मेड हिम इमोर्टल. मरेर पनि जिउँदो रहन मन छ भने के गर्नु पर्यो? ट्रु नलेज. what knowledge? ट्रु. फेसबुकको होइन, राइट? ओके. That's all. Now, your lesson सिद्धियो. There is something that I tell you now, which भनिदिन्छु मैले. एक्जाममा के हुन्छ भने यो सेकेन्ड सेमेस्टर विल बी टेल यु समथिङ डिफरेन्ट. फर्स्टमा थिएन. फर्स्टमा थिएन. लिसन हेर. In your course, you have what? What means? What means? Content. What means? Subject matter. What means? Idea. Right? Plato is saying something. Plato is saying something. That something is content, subject, idea. Right? There is a second thing. जुन हामीले पढाएको छ अहिलेसम्म. अब त्यो के हो? How does Plato say what he says? How? How? Right? There are ways to express love. तपाईँलाई कसैसँग प्रेम लाग्यो भने सिधै गएर आई लभ यु भने पनि भयो. अब क्लिप कसले पत्याउँछ अहिले आई लभ यु? कोही पत्याउँछ? पत्याउँदैन. एक फेरि के भयो? एकजना मलाई मिस कल दिनुभयो. भर्खर चिनजानु भएको थियो. नम्बर उसको थाहा छैन. कल आयो, मिस गरेर मैले उठाइनँ. भोलिपल्ट मैले गएर सोधेँ उहाँहरू हुँदाखेरि. मैले जस्तो मिस कल पाएँ. कसले हो भने एकजना देवीले मैले भन्नुभयो. मैले उहाँलाई सोधेँ मलाई किन मिस कल दिनुभएको भने, अनि उहाँले आई वाज मिसिङ यु भन्नुभयो कि. मैले के बुझेँ? सी वाज इन्टरेस्टेड इन मी भन्ने बुझेँ मैले. नभए किन मिस कल दिने? अब अहिले मिस कल दियो भने त्यो नबुझिएला. देयर आर मेनी वेज टु से द सेम थिङ. एन्ड डु यु नो Some ways are highly effective. So, we are going to read about the word rhetoric. What is the word? Rhetoric. Rhetoric comes from the word rhetor. What? Rhetor. Rhetor means a speaker. What does rhetor mean? Speaker. And rhetoric means speech. Rhetoric means speech. It has a positive meaning and negative meaning. If you say political rhetoric, it means what politicians say. What do they say? They say all false things. Politicians always speak false things. घरमा ग्यासको पाइप ल्याइदिन्छु. That's rhetoric. आयो त घरमा ग्यासको पाइप आयो. That's rhetoric. So in that sense, rhetoric means false speech, false statement. But rhetoric has another positive meaning. In the positive sense, rhetoric means the art of persuasion. The art of persuasion. Try it. You want to borrow 1,000 rupees from your mother this morning. You want to ask for 1,000 rupees. I give you 2 minutes time. Copy, man. What would you tell your mother so that she easily gives you 1,000 rupees? Look, how would you persuade your mother to give you 1,000 rupees? Your mother is miser. She hardly give you 10 rupees. And this morning, you want to get how many?
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
Quickly. Quick. Right. What would you do to persuade your mother so that she gives you easily 1,000 rupees? Now I will see how clever you are.
Birthday gifts.
And rhetoric. Okay, write it. I don't think she will easily give you birthday gift. I don't know.
Books, sir.
Okay. Write it. Write a sentence. How would you say? Write the sentence in Nepali, whatever language. Write the sentence you will speak to convince her to give you 1,000 rupees. How will you convince your mother to give you 1,000 rupees? How would you convince your mother to give you 1,000 rupees? She never gives you any money. Here we have a solution. Mamu, book kinnu thiyo, 1,000 rupees chahiyo. Okay. Wait. You are that mamu. And your son says, book kinnu thiyo, 1,000 rupees. Would you give it? You are a kind man. I wouldn't give. Okay, suppose you would say no. How would you say no? He says, book in with you, other rupees. You want to say no. How do you say no? That's not very convincing. A mother wouldn't say that, right? A mom would not say kina ponnu pare. A mom would say ponnu pare, right? So her rhetoric is not very good. Hers is better. That in the first, right? Okay. Now let me come to the point. So rhetoric is how we convince people. Let's read the definitions here. So art of speaking or writing effectively and persuasively. The study of principles and rules of composition, how to write. So rhetoric is about how to write anything. Then the use of language to create a shared perspective on the past and future, influencing people's opinion through writing. For example, advertisement has very strong rhetoric. Advertisement uses rhetoric, right? Then capacity to affect and be affected by speech or writing. Have you seen? There are 3 ways to persuade. One is emotion. One is emotion. Another is logic. Another is logic. And another is character. Just imagine Nelson Mandela comes in this class right now and he says, Divakar sir, you took 1 hour, it's 2-hour class. So I will take the second class. And I ask you, hello guys and girls, should I teach you Mandela? Who will you prefer? Because Mandela has higher character than Divakar sir. So there is ethics. You know, sometimes we easily believe people because of their character. When Haribams and Madan Krishna advertise, we tend to believe them. Right? Because they have a character. Right? So we can persuade people through emotion. In advertisements we see emotion. Right? Often we see sexual emotion. Have you seen? Advertisements most often use what emotion? Sexual emotion. Especially perfumes. Perfumes, for example, right? Or logic. Logic is information, knowledge. Third, character, ethics. Emotional appeal, logical appeal, and ethical appeal. Do you think Plato is using emotion in this dialogue? No. Do you think Plato is using logic and reasoning in the dialogue? Is Plato using logic and reasoning or emotion? Logic and reasoning. Do you think Plato's personality persuades you to believe what he says? Probably, because we know that Plato was the student of Socrates and teacher of Aristotle. And we were easily impressed. भन्नु पर्छ कस्तो ठुलो मान्छे रहेछ कसको विद्यार्थी Socrates को कसको teacher. So his character also influences you. So this dialogue uses logical reasoning and ethical reasoning, not emotional appeal. It uses logical appeal and ethical appeal. So using emotions, logics and character, personality is known as rhetoric. It's more than that. It's more than that. Let's have a quick look. Now there is the word rhetorical strategy. I'll share one fun experience. I was in class 11 and I was brilliant in reading. A girl fell in love with me for my reading capacity. For reading, she fell in love with me. And she decided to write me a love letter. The first love letter. No, second or third, I guess. Right? In my life, I mean. And you know what she did? I'm giving example, rhetorical strategy. She wanted to convince me in love. So she tore a piece of paper. And this I remember. She wrote, "Dear honey." This is how the letter opened. The first phrase was, "Dear honey." Then, "Sunday को श्याम टाकीज में सिनेमा देखने आना." She tore the piece of paper. She gave it to a class 6 child. And she told the class 6 baby to take it to me. Because if she gave, somebody will doubt. Class 6 baby is small children. So that baby comes running, "Bhaiya, bhaiya, bhaiya." I said, "Kya hua?" He tells her name. "Chithi diya aapko." And I feel like there's a bomb falling on my body. I pick up the paper. As I pick up the paper, I feel I'm holding atomic bomb. And instantly, I hide in my inner wear's inner pocket. Inner wear's inner pocket. Why? My friends will know. And I'll be expelled. Rhetorical strategy is what you do to persuade and convince people. For example, in that love letter, our opening words were, what were the words? "Dear honey." She used a metaphor. Honey is a metaphor for lover.